Okay, welcome to part 2 of our date time review. The first thing I did for this video was I just wanted to show you an alternative way of building that string that we did last time. In this case, I'm using different format codes to provide a different output. So in this case, I said your next appointment is on 9/23/2020. That's maybe a little more realistic, but I just wanted to show you both ways that we could do that. Okay, let's look at string parse time. The purpose of string parse time is to take a string object and turn it into that cool computational datetime object. What's a real-world example for this? Well, let's say that Clown books an appointment on his own with his phone. Okay? Well, is he going to create a datetime object with his fingers on the texting keyboard? Absolutely not, right? That object starts as a string, most likely, okay? So he's going to type something in, and that's going to be like book appointment string, okay? And let's say his book appointment string is really well formatted. We'll say he's going to do 09/25/2020, okay? Now, what do we need to do with that string in order to bring it into the to really bring it into the computer so we can do some computation, like with the days, months, and the year? Well, we need to turn it into a datetime object. Right now, it is a string. And if you want to verify this information, right, if you don't believe me, you can always do type, right? You can always say type clown appointment string and see that that's a string. And if I want to create a datetime object or check a datetime object, I can see this is clown appointment. So that's my datetime object. That's actually the first one I wanted to do. I made a mistake. But there you go. Okay, so we can see clearly that these are all different things. And the last one we'll do book appointment string. I don't think I've run my code. Maybe I did. Oh, okay, I did. So it's a string as well. All right, we'll clear that out and let's build our datetime object. So in order to do that, I first need to observe the nature of the string I'm getting. Okay, so this is why when you all use applications on your phone or on the web, the way you put in the date is always a really specific little field that requires you to write it in a certain format. Is because the programmer has to know what format to expect the date time to come in as a string. Like we can't just go in here and type, you know, like if we're supposed to do 9/25/2020, we can't come in here and type a wonky string that's like September 9th, equinox of the moon spirit, 2020/25, something like that. You can't do that, okay? That's why you can't just type in a date box all willy-nilly, you know. The programmer has to know what to expect. String parse time works a little bit differently. So it's important that we check out the documentation on this one. So when we use string parse time, as you can see over here in this screen, let me zoom in a little bit for you. What string parse time expects is a date string and a format. Okay, so the date string is going to be the string that we're pulling the data from, and the format is going to be the format it should be in. It's important that, like I said, we have the correct format with our expected string. So here we go. We'll say this is the book date object that we're going to make, and that's going to be a result of calling datetime.stringParseTime on this string, which is our book appointment string. And what format do we expect? Well, if we go back to our codes, make this a little smaller. Go back to where are our codes? Boom, 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 boom. All the way up. Sorry. What the heck? Okay, there we go. I found the codes finally. So if we look at our codes, what do we have here? Well, we have a 0 padded decimal. So that's going to be %m. All right, 0 padded decimal for month, right? 09. And then we're going to have a 0 padded day of the month. That's %d, small d. All right, lowercase d. And then we're going to have %y. Once we run this, replit will take forever, and then eventually we'll get a something that works here. All right, book date object. Great. So we have a book date object that came from a string, and we can access the booko. Booko. Day. We have a day. We have a month, and we have a year. And so what if we had a slightly more complicated string? Well, let's go see. We can say at 4 p.m. Okay, now that's a little more complicated, right? So with this one, what we would want to do is get the elements of the string that we know are correct. Let's go ahead and remove the at, because you're not going to need anything that complex in the exam. So let's see here. We've got 4 p.m. Okay. So we need to say we've got the month, day, and the year, and then we've got what, a percent hour from a 12-hour clock. Okay, this is a 12-hour clock if it's saying 4 p.m. Okay, it's not 1600, which would be a 24-hour clock. So we would say percent, what is this, I? Okay, percent I. And then we would say percent minute. Where's our minute? 0 padded decimal number. That's percent M. Okay, let's see what we get now. If we run this again, unconverted data remains. So how would we fix this problem? With the PM, notice that we have a code for that as well, because it's such a common thing to appear in strings, okay? Datetime strings. So we'll say %p, and there we go. If we run our code, we should get a new book date object. And now look at that. We've got an hour to deal with as well. Now, of course, the datetime object, because computers operate on a 24-hour clock, it's going to have 16 there as well. So the key things to remember for this, for your exam, are string parse time takes a string and turns it into a datetime object. String format time, strptime, right, takes a datetime object and turns it into a nice human-readable string. That's their purpose, and they rely on this format code, these format codes to do their job. We call string format time on a datetime object. So this datetime object dot string format time gives us a string, okay? But with string parse time, we say datetime dot string parse time. We give it a string to work with and the appropriate format associated with that string. So we got a month, day, year, hour, minute, and AM or PM. Okay? That's date time in a nutshell. That's all you should really have to expect for the MTA. You should write this code on your own so you have some comfort with these two methods, and I would encourage you to make your own little application if you want to. Okay? All right, we'll see you in the next review video.